Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? It's Husk out here, man. Tune in, get your popcorn ready, get your beverage of choice ready. About to listen to the Husk Out High School Sports Show podcast, man. Informative. You know it's gonna be great coaching, great players, and great commentary. Sit back, enjoy it. Let's go. Peace. So you listened to part one. You liked part one. You reposted it and reshared it. You donated to the podcast. So what do now? You sit back, you relax, and you listen to part two of the Hood Scout High School Sports Show podcast with Coach Leon Paul, head coach of Lancaster High School. Peace. And then you got that call from Samples, right? I would assume that was the next step.
So I got the call from Kathy Self Morgan. So Kathy Self Morgan was the athletic director at Duncanville at the time. Okay. And she called me because she wanted me to take over the boys track program, right?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even attached to football. So I had to tell Coach Self Morgan, the only way that I could come to Duncanville is if I can work under Coach Samples. And she goes, well, you got to go interview with Coach Samples. I can't speak for his program, but what I can do is I can put you in front of him. So I said, please put me in front of him. If it don't work out, then I'm good where I am at Crowder. So went in there with Coach Samples, man. Long story short, we had about a 2-hour interview. And he looked at me. He says, hey, man, you seem pretty sharp. What is your ambition in this profession? And he was on one side of the desk. I was on the other side. And I said, well, my main goal is to be on your side of the desk, asking somebody else the same question that you just asked me. And he kind of started laughing. He was just like, man, you going to do all right here. Mm-hmm. And I said, I hope so. So those 5 years I was at Duncanville, man, I was a sponge. I paid attention to everything that Coach Samples did. I would go in his office. You know, a lot of times he's in his office and, you know, he's handling business, but he has a lot of free time. So I would go in there all the time and I would ask him, you know, hey, what are you looking for when you hiring coaches? You know, and how do you deal with a parent that's irate? You know, what are your core values? And with delegation, like how are you able to trust people so much with your program that you're able to delegate? I mean, I'm asking him all those questions and he would tell me everything, right? So the whole time I'm just writing notes. You know, I'm listening in the meetings when we're having coaches meetings, and sometimes those coaches meetings get hectic, especially in a place like Duncanville. And I'm writing notes. You know, I just paid attention to a lot of stuff that he did, and I brought everything with me.
Yeah, and we're gonna lead up to that. We're gonna lead up to your job now. I want to kind of pick at that a little bit. 2 questions. What was your mindset? How did you feel before you went into that Duncanville interview with Coach Semple? Did you feel like I'm gonna knock this out, or was it a little like, man, I don't know how this is gonna turn out?
Whenever I've never really had an interview except for this one. Mm-hmm. When I was going and talking to him, I already knew I was going to get the job, not because I'm arrogant, but because God works in mysterious ways. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think at that time I was supposed to be there, so nothing was going to stop it. And I just went in there and I was just me. And an interview that I thought was going to last for maybe 15, 20 minutes lasted for like 2 hours. Well, we talked about a lot of stuff. So me and him, we had a common goal. We had the same mindset. So I knew it was going to work out.
And then you say you asked them about how to deal with parents, how to do this, how to do that. What's one of those things that stood out? What's one of those little nuggets that he gave you that stood out, Coach?
His main point of being at Duncanville is not to win games, and that's what people don't understand. If you ask anybody on his staff, or if you ask any kid that's ever played for him, the main thing that he talks about is being a man of character. And he preaches it all the time about, you know, having good character. And good character take you a long way. And he's about to play in the state championship. And all of the guys on his team have great character. All of his coaches. He replaced, I want to say, 12 or 13 coaches. Mm-hmm. You know, which normally would be a big hit for a program. But his program, the program runs itself. So it don't matter who's in it. You know what I mean? If one good coach comes out, another good coach is going to come in and he's going to make that good coach even better. You know, just like he did to all of us. So it just speaks volumes of him as a head coach and how he runs his program.
Boy, that's a nugget, coach. I really enjoy what you just said right there. So what's if we finna get to Lancaster? What is it about Simp? Is it just character? Is he X's and O's? Is it a relationship? What is because he's the most winning African American coach in Texas high school football. What is it that make him him?
His expectations,
Hmm.
his expectations of you as a coach. Uh, if you ever are to work for Coach Samples, you better know where your kids are at all times. You better know what their grades are in their classes, if they have any zeros at all times. You better be the best coach at your position. Just meaning that you always have to learn, you always have to come up with new things. Uh, you better be able to answer any question that he has before he asks the question. Uh,
Hmm.
which means that you just have to stay on your toes. And a lot of people I absolutely love working in the program because it made me into the coach I am today. Some people don't like working for him because some people don't like having that type of expectations put on their head, and that's
Man.
being real.
Hmm. So you're there for how long were you there, coach?
5 years.
I thought so. Walk me through that next big step because this is probably the biggest one out of all of them.
Was there for 5 years, and the interview process, I thought I wasn't going to be ready for. I knocked it out the park because a lot of the stuff that they asked me was the stuff that I had to do as an assistant at Duncanville, and also what I had to do as a head track coach at Duncanville. So I had the answers, and I didn't make up anything. I actually was able to tell them what I did as far as and how do I handle grades and like this year in the whole program, all the way down to eighth grade. We only had 3 kids fail. Uh, so the stuff that they asked me, I was actually able to bring it to the table. I wasn't just talking so I can get this job. And the last 5 years prepared me for how to set up my summer workouts because we did the exact same thing that we did at Duncanville with a little twist on it, with my little twist. That's how it's going to be. How we practice, uh, the intensity of practice,
Hmm.
uh, teaching kids how to practice effectively, where we can go our number one defense versus our number one offense and don't get anybody injured at practice. And then the level of expectations that I have from my coaches. But with me being a young coach, uh, that doesn't mean anything to these coaches here. They understand that my role is my role, and the expectations that I have for you, I'm never going to waver from. And
Hmm.
so now it's funny that I see my assistant coaches are working just as hard as I did as an assistant coach, and hopefully one of these days I can help them get a head job.
Hmm. So I had your quarterback Glenn Rice on the podcast the other day,
Okay.
and he said you brought a business like attitude to the program. I thought that was a great compliment. Um, Talk to me about the vision for this program, Coach. What's your goals for this Lancaster program? I think it's a story program. It's it's a big time job, to be honest.
Yeah,
Talk to me about because it's almost like a ministry with you. This is a big job. What's your expectations with this thing?
my expectations within the next couple of years is no matter what state you're in the United States of America, if anybody says anything about football, they have to mention Lancaster. Uh, and though that's something that I'm working for, that's something that I want these coaches to work for. That's something that I want these kids to work for. And the reason why I can say that, and some I say that to some people, and they're like, "Oh, baby steps." No, I've seen it done. I've seen Coach Samples take a 2-18,
Yep.
who won 2 games, lost 8, to now any state that you're in. If you mention Duncanville, they're going to think of the football team or the basketball team, which Coach Peavy is a great coach over there as well. But that is the type of environment, that's the type of program that I want, and that I
Hmm.
want to work hard to make sure it happens.
What is when you got there? What is some of the what is something you implemented as a coach when you got to Lancaster?
Man, check me out. So I keep God first
Hmm.
all the time. I don't want to say I preach to these kids because I don't want to, have somebody, believe in something that they don't believe in. I don't preach religion, but I know where my blessings come from. I know, no, despite if any through a win or a loss, I'm gonna give God the glory. Uh, I'm in my Bible all the time. I make sure that I take things from the Bible and let our kids see that this was spoken about many years ago, but it's still relevant to until today. This is how we have to live. Have to live, and I keep God first, man. And my whole life I have, and my whole life I've never wanted for anything. I've always had what I've needed, and now He's giving me way more than what I expected. And I
Mm-hmm.
know if He can do it for me, He can do it for anybody. So I make sure that I let that be a lesson to these young men.
Mm-hmm. From a from an X's and O's standpoint, did you have to change what Lancaster do, like to something kind of like to this is Coach Paul's system, or did you kind of use some stuff that they were doing?
I changed everything.
Okay.
And this is first of all, uh, Chris Gilbert did a great job here.
Mm-hmm.
He won, I want to say, 140 something games in 10 years, or something like that. Or I think that's his all time record. I don't know what he did, but it was a winning program.
Mm-hmm.
The season before I took, he only lost one football game.
Mm-hmm.
So he did a great job. But in order for me to make this program mine, I have to bring everything from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the offense is defense. It's different. The defense is different. Our special teams are different. Our pregame is district. Almost everything that was here is changed now, and I
Mm-hmm.
have to do that because now I'm the head of this program, and I have to make this program mine.
Mm-hmm. At this age, Coach, I want to ask you this: what are some ways of growth as a head coach? You're still a young coach. What's some ways of growth as a head coach, or what's the ways a younger coach can grow, if you will?
The best way, and I say this: take your your second sport seriously.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many young coaches that play football in college and they want to be a head football coach. So they coach football extremely well, but their second sport, they take a back seat to it, and they don't understand that their second sport is going to teach you how to coach more. Because when you're a head football coach, you're not just coaching wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a head football coach, you have to learn how to coach every position because it's in your scheme. You have to learn how to coach coaches, uh, which only comes from experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can become a head coach of whatever, head basketball, head track, head wrestling, whatever it is, if you can become head, that's what you need to do, and treat it like it's your football program and watch what happens.
Mm-hmm. So walk me through as we're going to kind of wind it down because I want to be sensitive of the time, and I know I just feel like we can go and go and go. Walk me through this past year, Coach. How was that year for you, and what's a lesson that you learned about this year?
This year for me was mind blowing.
Okay.
Uh, because when I first got the job, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I heard a lot.
Yeah.
I heard a lot. I heard, what are they doing hiring this guy? He's just a track coach. You know, I've heard, why are they hiring this guy? He wasn't even the coordinator at Duncanville, and Sam didn't hire him as a coordinator at Duncanville when he had the Duncanville job coordinator spot open.
Mm-hmm.
I heard all of this, right? And then I didn't let it bother me. When I first got here and I want to speak with the kids, it was only 10 kids here,
Mm.
10 kids working out. Uh, and I didn't let that bother me. Uh, we weren't able to have an off season or spring ball. Uh, we had to start everything, implementing everything in the summer. And I knew what the task was before us. And instead of worrying about what we didn't have, I maximized the time that we did have in this summertime. It was very crucial that all kids was here. We started out with 10 and ended up averaging over 130 kids a day.
Oh
You know,
wow.
and they're up here and they're grinding and they're learning our scheme, they're learning our system, to where when we scrimmaged in our first scrimmage, it looked like we had all season in the spring ball.
Mm-hmm.
We was physically ready, we was mentally ready, and those guys play hard because they understood the expectations.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of the leaders and captains of your team this year, Coach?
Man, you got Glenn Rice, uh, was a very good vocal leader as well. You had Jamarcus Piper that, even though when he got injured, he was still out there and he was coaching. And it kind of reminded me of me back when I was in college. And so, me and him talk about that a lot. We had Marquis Sykes. Marquis Sykes didn't play football last year, decided to give me a chance. He came and he was a defensive MVP of the district. He has Power 5 offers. You got Isaiah Broadway. You got DeLeon Huff. You got all of these individuals that didn't have to buy into me so quick. So I'll forever be grateful for them, because as soon as I got hired, they was like, let's work. And that's exactly what we did. We worked every day, no days off.
What are some things that y'all going to be trying to work on this off season, Coach?
Getting stronger.
Okay.
Getting stronger. We have to get mentally stronger. We have to get physically strong, but we have to get more mentally stronger than anything, because we had some key guys leave, like Faison Wilson. That's 20 touchdowns that we have to replace. He's a big time player. Same with Glenn Rice and Isaiah Broadway. On defense, we have to replace Thomas Gore. We have to replace, Marquis Sykes, Jamarcus Piper, EJ Moten. You have to replace guys like that. But I'm telling these guys right now, like, this team coming up is going to be better than the last team. It's all about, do you believe it can happen?
Wow.
And the reason why I know it can happen is because in track, I used to tell we was number 1 relay in the country. And then 3 guys off that relay graduate. And then we just have to reload. And then we look up and we're number 1 relay again in the country. And it's just, you have to believe in what you're trying to do.
Talk about your coaching staff, Coach. Who are some of you guys on your coaching staff?
So I brought about 4 guys from Duncanville with me.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, my defensive coordinator, this is the first time being defensive coordinator. My offensive coordinator, it's his first time being an offensive coordinator. And a lot of people, say when you get a job like this, you can hire anybody. And I could have, because this is a big time job. But, how I was raised is, when somebody gives you an opportunity, pay it forward. So I was able to get my opportunity, and I told Coach Muhammad, which is our defensive coordinator, if I ever get a job, I don't care if you don't have an experience. I see you work every day because I worked alongside you. I want you to be my defensive coordinator. And as soon as I got the job, I asked him to come, and he was like, I'm there. And our defense was one of the top defenses in the state of Texas. The same thing with my offensive coordinator. My offensive coordinator, he worked with me at Duncanville. And, he was a guy that if you gave him a broom and a mop, he ain't gonna complain. He's just gonna work. So when I was able to bring him, he knew the offensive scheme that we want to run. He came in and he was working like, he's been an offensive coordinator for 5 years, and in 1 year, we was able to go to the second round. So I'm pleased with them. They work hard, and the thing about it is the kids love them.
What we're pretty good to wrap it up, man. We've been almost talking about 40 minutes, and it's really been flowing. I want you to define these 2 things, Coach. I want you to define leadership, and I want you to define team, in your opinion.
Okay. Leadership is one of those things that's hard to define. I don't really like to define leadership. I like to show it.
Okay.
I like to lead by example. I like to tell my team my testimonies. I tell them everything. I don't hold anything back. Like, I had a severe stuttering problem when I was young. I couldn't talk, and I didn't let that stop me. And now I'm able to talk to hundreds a day, just taking advantage of my opportunities. I took advantage of all of my opportunities, and I got to my dream, which is what they need to do. I always keep God first. I'm always on time. I'm always the first person to practice, the last one to leave. And to me, that's true leadership. And when they can see how you lead, I always tell them, just follow in my footsteps, because I'm following in somebody else's footsteps. God ordered my footsteps and I'm following. So just trust me, because I'm trusting him. And, those kids bought in, and they followed the footsteps, the blueprint, and we was very successful.
And then, like I say, team. What would you say a team is? What defines team?
Team is everybody coming together for one goal, with no egos. That's huge. Having a team full of athletes, and these athletes can go. We got the same type of athletes of anybody in the DFW. They may have more, but we got the same type of athletes. swallowing your pride to put the team ahead is actually being a team player. Just because you're on the football team doesn't mean you're a team player. When you say, "Hey, coach, I'll do whatever it is to help us win," like Faison Wilson, for instance, our quarterback went down. I had him play quarterback. He's never took a
Mm.
snap, but he knew that I needed him in that moment to win, and he said, "Okay," and he actually threw a touchdown pass versus Skyline to help us win the football game. Or Isaiah Broadway, when our quarterback go in, I said, "Hey, I need you to play Wildcat quarterback." All
Mm-hmm.
right, coach. Or I have a guy as in Thomas Gord, which is a dominant defensive tackle. Hey, I need you to play offensive tackle. All right, coach, whatever you need me to do. And when you have a team like that, then you're going to have a good overall team. And that's what helps you build your program. Not having
Well,
any me guys, having some we guys.
yeah. Well, coach, hey man, that was a great coach. About 40 minutes, real quick. We're gonna end right now. Do you got any shout outs? Anybody you want to give credit to, coach, before we end this thing?
Of course, first and foremost, I want to give all glory to God, man. He's never revealed himself to me like he has in these past 9 months. I mean, I know he's really working in my life, just from what everything that's happening. I want to give a very special shout out to Beverly Humphrey. What she did was courageous. She had 182 applicants. She had some applicants that was at the collegiate level, and she saw something in me and gave me a chance. So I want
Wow.
to make sure I do everything in my power to make sure that she's right about this decision. Of course, big shout out to Coach Sam, man. I appreciate everything, man. Go ahead and get that ring this year, and then, man, yeah, man, that's probably it. But I have to give those guys credit.
Man, that's wow. That's really good, coach. And there was something else I was gonna say, it kind of escaped my mind right now. Oh, I know I'm gonna say. I meant to tell you this, man, coach, before the season, but I think this is not a coaching job. I think this is a ministry you have, coach.
Yeah,
And that's just one thing I want to say. I think this is a ministry. Keep leading and keep following God and keep inspiring young man. And I'm appreciative of you coming on the podcast.
man, I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. All right. So take care, man. Get to class and we'll catch up soon, coach.
Already, man. I'll holler at you.
Okay, peace.